What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Zebec today, Zbcn. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. It is the 19th day of September. Here we are, sitting at about $0.00406 right now, 9 hours and 16 minutes left in the day. We're right back at this area where we've been consistently finding support. I wouldn't be surprised in the least if we looked at the 1 hour time frame and we were to find support somewhere in this zone. I didn't draw that line completely accurately, but something like that, right? We're finding higher lows in this kind of trajectory. It is possible we could go lower. Again, I think I've written off the idea that we do go below this low here. I've even written off the idea that we go below these lows here. But even if we do, the lowest price that I can see us going to would be about 0033, that area, to 00309, right? That's the kind of intended area there. So at the worst, that would be our intended area. I don't expect that to happen. Anything can happen, though. It wouldn't really make a whole lot of sense because typically, again, if it was a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-legged correction, that's one thing. But whenever your fourth leg is this big, it kind of throws off the wave count. Just because it throws off the wave count doesn't mean it can't happen. We definitely could go lower, but I'm expecting that we hold support and that we continue to move higher. If we're looking at this from a low to a high right here, not the fake out high, but the high of the move really right there. We bounced off the 0.5. We're now kind of crowding the 382 for support. Once we get above the 236, which is at about 00475, once you get above that area there, let's say 00476, 0048, whatever, get above that area on a daily closing basis, that's how we know that we're ready to go, that we're done doing this dilly-dally BS, that we're done messing around and we're ready to get serious and move up higher. Okay, really, once you take out these highs, that's whenever it's time to get serious. But by the way of this fib, I would say this 236 is pretty condemning for the bears. We get above 00475, we are very likely going to take out this high here. Okay, and it's not just getting above, we want to close a day above that. Okay, so keep that in mind going forward. Let's look at the 1 hour time frame and then we'll zoom out from there. Okay, we're down about 6.99% right now, 7%. It keeps fluctuating. Wait and see, wait and see. 7% right there. Okay, it was there for a second. 1 hour time frame here. Looking at this, we're going to throw on some indicators. We look at the RSI, the stochastics, and the MACD. The RSI is rejecting the 50. You are getting deeper into the overbought zone, which is nice, but you're also getting oversold, overbought, oversold. Volatility, definitely volatile. Living below the 50 predominantly, a little bit bearish, right, with this volatility. But overall volatile, just kind of neutral. You are in the bearish stance right now, so I would think that could allow you to go lower. If we take this relative low here from back on the 15th of September to the high there on the 16th, you're right in the golden ratio zone. You found support once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. I would say this is good enough for a double bottom right here, but typically in this kind of circumstance, I would think you go to your 786, 886, which might imply that we go down to 004 itself, or 00395, 00394, something in this area. So if we see a little bit lower prices, that's okay. I very much don't believe we're going below this low though, okay? Because again, we've been very volatile, and with that volatility expressed, I would think, here we are kind of in an area where we like to find support typically. Stochastics, they look a little bit bearish, which agrees to the idea that we go a little bit lower. And the MACD is also bearish, so agreeing with the idea we go lower. But the MACD I don't really care about too much. It's the 1 hour time frame, so who cares? The 4 hour time frame here, very neutral, very neutral on the 4 hour RSI, and you can see that here in the price, right? You really haven't gone anywhere at all since the 8th of September. You've just been moving sideways, so I don't think this is a bad thing at all. If anything, I think it's just a little bit of volatility implied here. If we look at this to the downside, you broke just, oh, that's not what I meant to do. You broke just below this low here, just below it, oh so barely just below it. A little bit of a fake out, right? That makes me think, if anything, we are more likely to break out to the upside, not the downside. We're probably coming down to find support at one of these key areas of support, a higher low again, and something that is, again, relative to this fib here at the 786, 886 area, just to keep it simple, right? We're slowly but surely making our way down there. So 204, 20394, something in that area, that's where I very much expect that we would go to. I want to look at this and just see if anything lines up with this here from a low to a high. 3039, but you've already found support there. I mean, you could find a double bottom overall. You found support in this area once, twice already. Maybe you do it a third time. That could happen. And again, if you go below this low, it's not the end of the world. Who cares, right? Just a little bit lower after that, 0033 at the worst, but I highly doubt that that's what happens. 4 hour RSI, very neutral. Stochastics are bearish. And the 4-hour RSI, even though it is neutral, you can come down and still maintain that neutrality, bounce at the same areas that you bounced before, so you probably do that. The MACD is wrestling with the 0. I'm not really getting too many. It looks bearish right now, but I'm not getting too much conviction here because, again, moving sideways and being the 4-hour time frame, it's probably not that serious, nothing to really take into consideration. So while it does look bearish, I don't expect too much from this, okay? But it could provide a lot. It's very possible that it could. If we do get a 4-hour time frame to close below 0039, if a 4-hour candle closes below there, I think that there's a solid chance at that point that we do go down to 0033 or 00309, 00302, something in that area. If we do close below 0039, but I doubt that we close that on a 4-hour time frame. 2 4-hour time frames in a row. Let's be a little bit more strict with it because it's been so volatile. Maybe one close isn't enough. 2 closes in a row would be enough. Daily time frame here, but again, I don't even think that we do that. I don't think that we go too much below 00394 or 004 itself. Looking at this overall, high to low, we've gone all the way up to the 786, and as I've said before, going from the 786, if you go from your low all the way up to the 786 nonstop without even showing significance at the golden ratio, typically that's a very bullish thing, but you do see some volatility down to the 382 or the 236. We came all the way down, we found support at the 382, and now we're finding support at the 0.5, looking to stair step higher. I wouldn't be surprised in the least if we found support right here at this area, or again, a slightly lower low, and then or slightly higher low technically, and then we start to move up higher. So very, very much bullish on the price action of Zbcn. Momentarily bearish, I suppose, but nothing too crazy. If we're looking at this with the daily indicators here, you can see that the RSI is neutrally postured, right? Overall, very bullish. What makes it bullish is that, predominantly we're living above the 50, predominantly. There's a good bit of life that's below the 52, let's be fair, especially relatively speaking, but most of this, as far as getting overbought goes, you're getting deep into the overbought zone. You're not getting oversold, or when you do, it's barely at all. It's clearly in a more bullish posturing. Right now, definitely in a neutral posturing, neutral and even kind of bearish leaning. So if we do move down a little bit, that's fine. But I think you really are at a point where we're about to start moving up again. So don't fret. Don't be scared, right? 7.3% ain't nothing. The worst that this could be from here, at least I think, the absolute worst it could be about another 24%, which would come down to a lower low. And I know 24% sounds extreme, but if you just hold out, if you just wait, by the time that it resolves itself going into October, we should see some higher prices. I'm not expecting this at all. I'm just saying it right now because if it happens, which I don't expect to happen, I don't expect that we're going down there, but if it happens, you're not going to panic sell. You're going to panic buy, or at least hold, because you know that it's going to come back up and see new all-time highs. Okay, there's a lot of development being done with Zbcn. They got some interesting things going on. I still think that this, what was it, Allure? Is it Allure or Assure? Assure. I think that this is pretty cool, where your stablecoin payroll is available through the Zbcn network, but with Assure. So they've got access to 4 million customers. They're probably not going to have all of that business, but some of it you would at least assume is going to be interested in this kind of venture. Anyways, looking at the weekly time frame, or the 3-day time frame, actually, let's do that. 3-day time frame here. If it would load, it's so slow. The 3-day RSI showing higher lows as well. We're kind of in this area that we like to find support, and typically from here we do get into the overbought zone, or at least to the overbought zone, if not into it. So I very much don't expect that we're going to see anything dramatic here. This to me is actually a really good argument as to why we're not going below this low, why we're not going down to 0033 or lower. I'd very much expect that, again, as I've said throughout this video, we're at an area where we're going to find support, not an area that we're going to break down. The MACD also kind of at the 0, which is an area that you like to hold as support, just above it as support there. Wouldn't be surprised. And the stochastics coming out of the oversold zone looks good as well. We just need this, over the next 2 days and 10 hours. I think it'd be nice if this 3-day time frame could close green. So if by the end of the week, right, because 2 days, 10 hours from now is the end of the week, I believe. Yeah, 2 days, 10 hours. If we could come up and close above $0.0436, I think that'd be very beneficial for the price action of Zbcn. It's not a requirement. We don't have to have a bullish weekend. And if we close here, that's not a negative thing. It would just be a more positive thing, I think, to close higher, if that makes any sense at all. Of course, when talking about closing higher, when talking about moving higher, you can see here that most of your life was basically just a downtrend and then a consolidation aftermath of that downtrend, right? You just kind of moved sideways and you were accumulating this whole time, clearly accumulating, because once you had that double bottom off of your low here, you had a magnificent rally. Okay, absolutely magnificent rally, and the consolidation that you've seen since then has been anything but a dump, right? Not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but for anybody who's concerned about Zbcn, thinking it's a pump and dump or that it's going to come all the way back down, my thoughts are if it was going to do that, it would have done it already. You remember, right? Pump and dump. You remember what that looks like. You've seen it before. You've seen the disappointment. Pump and dumps. Yeah, they happen. This is not that. No, this is a nice consolidation phase. It's healthy. This is a chance, and you're even you're even finding support here at prior resistance there, at prior support there, at your all-time high area there. What you're doing here is you're shaking out the weak hands. You're shaking out the tourists, the people who are here for a good time and a short time, but not for a long time. They're here to spend money, not make money. You're shaking them out, and you're allowing the people with conviction to buy up the supply at these levels. And they are. They definitely are. So I think we'll see that we'll validate that once the price action executes to the upside. And when we do move to the upside, the expectation there would be that we see prices somewhere around, I think, 3.2 cents or higher, 3.2 to 4.5 cents, something in this area here. I say 3.2 because the 2272 is right here. Typically, you don't see the price stop right at the 2272, typically just above it. So I'm just saying 3.2 because it, whatever, it just sounds nice. Something above 3 cents. Okay, something above 3 cents is what I'm thinking. 4.5 cents at the most. At a bare minimum, 2 cents is the minimum kind of expectation here, but I think that you'll be above 3 cents by the end of this endeavor, which I expect to take place going into the end of this month of September and going into the end of October as well. Perhaps it continues to climb higher going into the very beginning of November, but somewhere at that end of October, beginning of November timeframe, I would think that we're between 4.5 cents to 3 cents, and then we correct in November, getting ready for December and going into the end of the year. For another rally going higher. Maybe we'll be at 10 cents by the end of this year. You're not even at half a cent now. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care of yourselves, all right? Bye-bye.